Got this distance okay?
Well, whatever. However,
Okay.
You know how mics work. The
Right.
closer you are, sound like
I'm
you're
not a
like,
mic eater, though. I'm not somebody who...
You don't rest your chin right up on it.
No, I don't.
Have you ever tried it? Does it feel good?
Maybe.
Welcome to Things Might Happen, the daily podcast. Hitting your feeds every morning at 5 a.m.
I actually set my alarm for it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Your alarm doesn't go off very often.
biggest fan.
Today, it's me, Tyler Corbine. I'm the host. I'm the guy. On my left, we have Sheldon Starr, sober for the first time in months.
Seven months.
And
Oh,
we
was that a
have-
requirement?
Oh, no. we actually don't like it when he's sober. He gets mean.
Oh,
He shakes a lot. And
he shakes.
on the right side of me, we have Tyler Matheson.
Drinks a lot of wine at church.
He drinks too much wine at church.
A lot of communion.
He gets ripped on Sunday, and it lasts him the whole week.
He's filled with the blood of Christ.
And kitty corner for me, we have our guest of the day, Jenna Green.
Hello. Oh, you don't even have, canned applause?
No, we don't do sound effects. We're all raw. We're very punk.
I like it.
We're very, we don't do what, we got our own special way.
You don't
Yeah.
edit?
Yeah, we don't do the typical podcast things like use effects or have viewers or whatever.
We
Or
edit
have
a
a
lot.
schedule.
I'm really glad that I gave my time up for
Yeah,
this.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We
Whatever.
edit too much because otherwise, a bunch of slurs and really provocative things. go on.
Maybe he's sober, so maybe it'll be better.
Yeah.
No, maybe it'll be worse.
Yeah, or worse.
Jenna Green is a voice actress,
True.
or do you like voice actor? Where you at?
I'm not picky. I'll take whatever.
As
Voice-
long as you're paying her, you can call her whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Or do we
Voice
do like that?
performer.
We do that thing where it's like with Latinos, it's voice actress,
What?
actress.
Actor X.
No idea.
You know what it's
Yeah,
talking
I know
about.
what I'm
Actor
I know what you're
X?
talking about.
Everyone, people who read know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Latinx. Okay, I get. I'm with you now. I'm also sober, so
3 hours sober. Stage hand, stage performer. Jenna Green. That is her. And do you have anything else to add to this intro? Because I obviously did not do a good
you
job.
should be very glad that he didn't actually have to look back at your name. Because normally when he introduces
Oh.
the guest, he doesn't actually know their
He
name.
doesn't remember
So
the
he
name.
starts the intro and panics and then has to look
and
around
turns
behind
around.
him.
Who's here
Yeah.
again?
I did a lot of research on her. I'm trying to impress.
That was probably like a solid 90 minutes of work then.
Yeah. trying to get it on your good side so that your brother
Yeah.
will book me.
That most people do treat me well, not because they like me, but because they want something else, and usually it's my brother.
Yeah.
What does your brother do?
He's a stand-up comedian.
Oh, is he?
Her brother. Her brother's Matt Greenwald.
Oh, okay.
He's in Denver.
I see it, Matt Green.
So very powerful man.
Oh yeah,
People fear him.
not me.
He
Well,
shot,
not you.
he
He
shot at me
actually
once.
fears me.
He shot a gun at me once.
I don't know.
What?
I saw your Mother Superior. I think more people should fear you.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's the most scary thing you've done?
Like role-wise or life-wise? Or maybe I'll just say they're the same thing. I don't know. Like Mother Superior probably was one of the most stern. Well, okay, so that would probably be the answer because Brian Christian, who played the Monsignor, actually did tell me after the fact. I was a little bit afraid of you when we started rehearsing, and I wasn't sure if you were kind of a bitch or if you were just in character. And I did, and I purposely kind of wasn't with the nunsemble, as they called them, a lot because I needed to keep that distance. And also just I didn't know a lot of them in real life. Wonderful, wonderful human beings that I got to know throughout. But yeah, apparently Brian was a little bit scared of me.
What was the character you were playing?
Mother Superior in Sister Act.
The head nun.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like if you've
all
seen the
right.
movie, it's Maggie Smith, who never
Not seen the
smiles.
movie.
Humble brag.
Rest in peace, Maggie.
Is the humble brag that you've seen the movie?
No, humble brag that she played the
That I
same
was
role
the-
as Maggie
yeah.
Smith.
Oh, Dame Maggie Smith.
Dame Maggie Smith. The
Damn,
The
Maggie
late,
Smith.
great damn Maggie Smith.
As the
Anyway.
format we've come accustomed to, is the Chrissy Davies hat.
Okay, I know Chrissy. I've known Chrissy for a long time.
Everyone does.
That's her hat.
Yeah.
That is true. Chrissy does know everybody.
Yeah.
The
100%.
Chrissy Davies hat of duplicity.
I seen a lost hat sign on the telephone pole. That one.
Well, it's probably been up there for a while because we've had this hat for years. All right.
Okay.
Our first question for 200 points. What is the most overrated movie?
I don't even know if I want to say this sitting at a table with three men because
Ooh,
I
it's gonna
find
be
that
Lord of the Rings.
no, I don't mind Lord of the Rings.
Indiana
Sci-fi fantasy isn't necessarily my genre, but like I'm not a big fan of Star Wars, but I can appreciate why people love it.
I'll probably agree with your answer.
Inception.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The movie sucks.
Really? Okay, so I feel like a lot of men are just like, oh, it was the most brilliant thing I ever saw. And my best friend and I went to that, and we thought the most brilliant thing about the movie was how many people they convinced that it was a brilliant movie.
Talking about bad movies, you should just list the movies he watches.
Oh.
I'm not gonna say anything until I know because they might be on my list too.
What's my favorite? I just watched Punch Drunk Love 2 or 3 times in the last week.
Okay. I've
2 or
seen
3
it, but not for a
times.
long
No,
time.
I said your favorite movie right now.
Yeah, my favorite movie right now
It's
is Punch
Punch
Drunk
Drunk
Love
Love.
because I watched it 2 or 3 times in the last week.
That's fair.
You know.
Tyler recently quit his job, and
Oh,
so now
so he's got
his
time to
job is
watch.
to watch Punch Drunk Love. Apparently,
Okay.
he's just going to go through all of the dramatic Adam Sandler roles.
I was going to say that was Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
Right? I saw it when
yeah.
it first came out. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, it's good. I feel like Christopher Nolan movies I like them, but I think they are supremely like overrated.
The greatest trick that Christopher Nolan ever pulled was convincing the world that he was a genius.
Well, just men. He
Wait.
makes movies for men.
Wait, did he do Inception? I don't remember who directed Inception.
Yeah,
Did he do it?
Inception,
Oh, yeah,
Interstellar,
okay.
The Dark Knight.
the Dark
Trilogy.
Yeah.
I did like The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But what I mean is
The
like these
Prestige.
movies are like dude movies.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
movies that like
So-
guys watch
But
and
I
they go,
am, like, in all fairness, like, not, I don't know. Like, I actually had a roommate once that I was, like, taking apart a DVD player and putting it back together to get a jam DVD out. And he was like, are you sure you're, like, full girl? So I love action movies.
Wait,
no,
wait,
but
wait.
like you liked The Dark Knight. You thought it was pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah. I didn't,
It
I'm, like, not
ruined
obsessed
my
with
entire
it.
generation. All the guys
Okay.
in my generation had at least a week where they're like, I'm the Joker. And
Everybody,
some people haven't grown out of it.
People still dress up as the Joker.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix is having a career renaissance.
Ugh.
Was having a career renaissance.
I did just see the second
Oh,
new Joker. I
I'm
did
so
like
sorry.
the first one, but that second one was...
It's weird.
I don't know why they turned it into a musical. Like,
it's a musical.
basically. And I was like, is it like Gaga's a great actress? You don't need music to have her in a movie. Like, they were
Yeah.
great, but it just kept, it was like, I compared it to like old Rodgers and Hammerstein type stuff where those are not musicals that I like because the music never moves the story forward. So you're just like, oh, what a beautiful morning. And then let's stop and sing for 5 minutes about what a beautiful freaking morning it is. That's what that Joker felt like to me. Was like that you could have removed every musical piece. Great music as a standalone, but you could have removed pretty much every musical piece in that new Joker and you would have still had a
So you're not a Hello Dolly fan.
No. It's okay.
All right.
That's one I would see before like Oklahoma. Sorry to my friends who may hear clips of this that have done Oklahoma.
Well, you didn't say they're bad at it. You
No,
didn't say-
I mean, there's people do shows like that all the time, like The Music Man. I was in The Music Man, and I don't like that. I
Yeah,
was in South
Well,
Pacific. and I
Sutton
don't like
Foster
that.
just unsubscribed. What are we even going to do?
Probably.
probably not go see him in Oklahoma.
If Sutton Foster was in Oklahoma, I would go see her.
So,
like
what's
her.
a woman movie? That's for.
Yeah, what is
Oh,
it?
I hate chick flicks though.
But-
they have to be
but,
pretty
like-
funny.
But like, give me some.
She didn't say she was like the king
No,
of
no,
like
no.
king
I
male
know-
versus
I
female
know.
movies.
like I think he's talking about like chick flicks. Or
No,
like
but you
rom-coms.
said these
Well,
are dude movies.
Right.
What are
Oh, like
woman
okay, so
movies?
a good example is
It
I'm
sounds like you've never spoken to a woman before. And so you're like, let's take this moment to figure out what women
Let's
like.
find out
Just
what
clip it,
women-
and make me look super.
I don't have to.
I may be the only person that I've ever known that did not shed a tear at The Notebook.
Oh, I did.
Well, Tyler's
Yeah.
more of a woman than I am.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a great movie,
Mhm.
but I was watching it with friends that were just sobbing, and I was like, oh, that's really sad.
Have you cried at a movie?
Doesn't happen very often. The one that I cried, the only movie I've ever cried in the theater at was A Dog's Purpose.
Ah, yeah.
Because the dog kept dying. Like, if it's probably
The
going to
dog
be animal.
kept dying?
Yeah, over
Yeah,
and over.
and I mean,
like
it's based on a
reincarnation
book
and
about
stuff.
like the man that wrote it. It was for his wife who was really struggling with her favorite rescue dog that passed away. And he said, like, what if they come back to you and new rescue dogs? And so he wrote this book. So yes, the dog, it's the same. I want to say, is it Josh Gad? I can't remember who's the voice of it.
Josh Gad's the voice of the dog.
It's the same voice, but it's a different dog.
So
until it finds Dennis Quaid again.
Yeah.
His wife was struggling with her dog dying.
Yeah.
So he wrote a book where he killed the dog
Multiple
over and
times.
over again.
Well, he didn't kill
Wow.
the dog.
Well,
it's not like he's like.
Yeah,
that
no,
is
he's
true.
the author, though. He absolutely
It's
not
killed
like a
it.
slasher
Have you
film.
seen Stranger Than Fiction? The
could
author
be.
killed, the author's the murderer. That's the whole plot of
That is
Stranger
true.
Than
Maybe
Fiction.
he was just sick of her whining about
Yeah.
it. And he's pushing it as like it was something
No, I'm just
sweet.
going to do it again.
But he was like, oh, I just want this woman to get over it.
Is it animals dying in film? Does that make you?
Yeah.
I have a friend who was like, she started off being like, I'm so sad whenever animals die. And then she got to the point where she was mad every time a filmmaker would kill off. And she's
Yeah.
like, are you serious? Like,
So-
that's how her response.
Right. I guess I would clarify that as somebody who also mostly watches horror, they're always killing dogs in particular. And I don't think it's necessary, but I also can separate like that kind of fiction from real life. Like if somebody was doing that in real life, I would be really pissed off. But like Michael Myers stabbing a dog to me is just a movie. But there was something about a dog's purpose and just, I mean, if you're an animal lover, if you've had pets and you've been with them when you've had to put them down or watch them die, like that's what keeps happening in the movie. And yeah.
It was really startling in A Dog's Purpose where they did have Freddy Krueger pop out and rip one up. But,
Oh, that was a deleted scene though, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
didn't make the theatrical cut.
Watching the director's cut of A Dog's Purpose is the worst thing anyone's ever said about this podcast.
But he's going to go home and do it because he's got all this free time.
True.
I'm probably going to watch Punch Drunk Love again. So we know that you cried at A Dog's Purpose, but like, what's a good, like a foundational movie or like TV show or some sort of media that you've like experienced?
When I was 2 years old, my grandma used to babysit me because they owned a business in Sturgis. And so when my parents would work for them, she would be at home with me, something like trade off. Nobody could, even at 2, nobody could spend a whole day with me, apparently. And after lunch, we would watch I Love Lucy and Bewitched. And those are still two of my favorite like classic shows to watch. And Lucille Ball was the reason that I wanted to act. Which is funny because I made it to this age before I finally got to like play a really silly, goofy role in September. It took that long because I'm definitely not really like a Lucy type of actor, but she just always was so fascinating and I just couldn't take my eyes off of her. And then I loved Bewitched because I thought it was fun, like the magic of it. But I loved, and I'm actually thinking about this for the first time myself. I loved her voice.
Yeah.
I loved the sound of her voice, and it was nap time probably after lunch too. But to this day, when I watch that show, she's one of the people that I listened to sort of see. There were 2 of them really that I listened to start doing audiobooks. And one of them was Elizabeth Montgomery because she had one of those deliciously soothing voices. And Lucy just made me laugh. Like Lucy was this she's this beautiful woman who would do anything for a laugh.
She was a brilliant comedian, 100%, like through and through. Because she could make you laugh with her words or with no words.
Without saying a
just
thing. Betty
actions,
White
with
is
her
another
facial
one.
just absolutely.
I think for me, like Lucy, as far as comedy goes, Lucy is like the inspiration for the sillier, like slapstick stuff. And Betty White she was the best at being like
ditzy and
naive. She had
Yeah.
that deadpan humor and I will name drop that I did get to meet her. I've twice hugged by Betty White. So be jealous.
Nice.
I'm not.
That's because you watch Punch Drunk Love. If I said I got hugged by Adam Sandler, you'd be like, oh.
I would question a lot of things if someone was like hugged by Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that is true.
He doesn't seem to be like a
He
hugging
doesn't
guy.
seem like he'd be a hugger.
I bet he would not smell great. Like I just get a vibe from Adam Sandler. Like if you went in for a hug, you'd be like, "Did you just get up like
Somebody
off
just eat
the
a
gym
hot
floor?"
dog?
Yeah, exactly.
I heard that once about Josh Hartnett.
He doesn't smell
I
good?
think he's fine now, but he was young at the time, and it was like a friend of a friend who's from Minnesota, and they went out to like a bowling alley, and he was there, and they were like, he was like looked and smelled like he hadn't showered for a couple of
Like
weeks.
the whole bowling alley.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe
a bowling alley
maybe he
doesn't
was
smell
just like
good.
living in the bowling alley.
He's
but
cutting through the
yeah.
bowling.
He
I
looked
mean,
like he hung out at a bowl, or he smelled like he hung out at
it
a
was
bowling.
it was like
alley.
shortly after he became super famous for like Halloween H2O and stuff, and I was like, I don't care.
Wasn't
I'd
that when
hug
he was
him
like
anyway.
20?
Yeah, he was like college.
So he's
age.
like a puberty. He's like going through
Exactly,
adolescence. He's at a
exactly.
bowling alley.
He was.
He's not.
Yeah,
He's got a lot
I'm
working
sure that
against him.
I'm sure he smells much better now, and I would give him a hug regardless.
Voice acting? Like, what made you want to get into voice acting?
So the first voiceover that I ever did was when I was 17 in high school, and it was for the Journey Museum. It was for a story wall, and I was like a young pioneer girl talking about like, oh, the plates broke on the wagon, and Mama has scarlet fever, and that kind of stuff.
Oh, that was
I never heard it.
you.
Yeah. Claim to fame. I actually never heard it, and I was the second choice. I wasn't the first choice. The first choice
Was actually AI or?
No, not back then. I'm not that young.
Speak
No,
and
she
spell.
got sick. She got mono or something. So they were like, "Oh, we'll go to our second choice." So, but they brought like a Los Angeles director out. Yeah, wild, right? Because it was a big deal and they were first opening it. So I went in to record with her and we did these stories and we went pretty quickly. And when I was on the way out, she said, "I don't know. I mean, you're young, but like." You're really good at this. You have a really nice voice. And my daughter is an actress. And it actually turned out that her daughter was on a TV show that I watched all the time. But she said, it's a very lucrative career if you can get it. I think it's something that you should consider doing like a career.
Was that the first time that someone's like introduced you to that idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was 17. So I went, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Bye, gotta go. And then it just was something that kind of just happened because I would do, when I worked with Eric Johnson through community theater a lot, I would do spots for them or I would do duet spots for their shows with him. Then I worked at the TV station. And so I was a free voice that was in the building and could enunciate and sounded decent. So that's where I did most of it. And then my brother, the almighty and powerful Matt, one
Very
day
funny.
discovered the site Fiverr. And this was like 12, 13 years ago. And he said, my actual college degree is in graphic design. And he said, well, I think it would be too, like, you wouldn't want to do design on there. You wouldn't want to do logos because it's too cheap. But I wondered about voice stuff. And I still,
Your voice is worth about $5.
yeah, like you're worth $5. But it was weird. And to this day, we've talked about it. And like, we don't really know why he thought about that. So I didn't even have the proper equipment. I didn't have the proper mic or anything, but I was like, well, that could be fun. And I was freelance designing, so, I had time. So I did it a couple times and it blew up.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, maybe this is something I can do. So I did go like start learning what proper equipment I needed and all that. And it's an ongoing learning curve. It's been, and every time I move, I have to find a new spot to do. But like, yeah, it just I kind of fell into it, or it fell into my lap. It fell onto me.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say fell into me, and
No,
I'm
it
like,
didn't fall
that's
into me. Not
a little weird. Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't anything that I necessarily set out to be like, this is what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to perform, and then that just became like the mode of performance that I was able to make a living doing. And yeah, and if I travel, I've got portable stuff I can take with me, and was just at my brother's house last month, and like,
how is he?
He's good. He
Good.
just had a new baby.
Did he bring me up at all?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
No, he does bring you up actually because he thinks that you're super funny. In fact, actually, I think you might have come up, but it was probably because I said that I was going to do this podcast. Everything goes through me.
With who again? I don't think I know them
Yeah, he's
at
like,
all.
wait,
Yeah, I've never heard of
Tyler,
them.
Tyler.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm, Tyler,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
And there are actually something that fascinates a lot of people are the ADR groups. There's a big one out of LA called the Loop Group. And I think it would be a blast to try. What they are the people who go in and real actors, no, they're also actors, but like known actors will go in and record ADR for like when you see a televised movie and they have those ridiculous like, oh, you fudgin', whatever, they record all those like alternate lines.
Yeah.
But the Loop Group people like make sounds and stuff. So for example, there is a man who used to do a lot of Black Hills Playhouse stuff, And he's like, oh, if you're ever in LA, like I'll introduce you to the Loop Group people. I think you'd have a lot of fun with it. He's like, I want to say it was Cliffhanger, maybe, or it was a Sylvester Stallone movie that as he's like climbing up the mountain,
it's a good movie,
apparently
isn't
it is his voice like doing the grunting, and
He's doing
Like,
doing Sylvester Stallone's grunts.
So it's
right.
like-
So like they're not bringing
It's not just
Sylvester
random
in.
gruntings. It's just
Right, and if it's not picking up well, if they're on location or whatever, and they need to ADR over the top of it, they're not bringing Sylvester Stallone in to be like, oh.
Grunt into this mic a little
I
bit.
can't believe that.
So they get these like.
but I can't
voice
believe
doubles.
they can't do like
Isn't that Wazardo?
come in a day and we're gonna get your grunts. He's like, no, I'm too big for that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no,
Gotta give my own guy to go.
yeah,
Yes.
I've
like-
got a voice double.
Human Foley work.
It's total. That's a great way to
Yeah.
describe it, and I
Yeah.
think it would be a blast. To
Who's your
try it.
dream ADR?
Like that, I would do ADR for.
Like that you wish you could,
I don't know.
like a current star.
I mean, I would just, I guess, to do any of the like Bette Midler or Sally Field, any of the actresses that I love.
I said current star.
Have you not seen Hocus Pocus running?
Is Sally
Like,
Field alive?
she's absolutely alive. She
I'm-
does a lot of Broadway now, or like theater.
Oh, you could do
I
ADR
was
for
gonna
that.
say you're gonna ADR.
Yeah,
In the
I'll
theater
follow her around on
performance.
Broadway. Whatever. If Sally Field is asking me to follow her around on a stage and grunt for her, I will do so.
Bette Midler is definitely not alive, right?
She
She's
is.
100% alive.
Hocus Pocus 2 just came out, bro.
She's rumored to be in Sister Act 3, and
All right,
my
look it up.
hope,
I need to see
Sister
this.
Act 3.
my hope is that she's the new Mother Superior, because then I will have Bette Midler and Maggie Smith to name.
We are scraping the
That'll-
bottom of the barrel here culturally.
Oh, I'm gonna walk out if you insult Bette Midler
Be-
anymore.
Bette Midler is 78 years old.
She's great.
Let me see. I don't know.
She's in
whether-
great shape.
I don't know.
Why don't you just
She's,
look at known
she's on
people?
TikTok. If you put this on
She's on
TikTok
TikTok?
All
and
right, I
you
know
tag
that
her,
is.
maybe you will have a new friend.
Yeah, we're gonna show Bette Midler that Sheldon didn't know who she was.
Yeah,
And
or
that I-
that Tyler thought she was dead. For some reason, though, I kind of feel like Bette would get a kick out of that.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm pretty old school. Like, I'm not as into like I don't know. I'm pretty old school in my acting inspirations. So yeah, those I think it'd be cool to be anybody's ADR.
okay.
My dream like animation job is any of the Seth MacFarlane shows.
Yeah.
I would like I don't care which one, but Family Guy is like the classic one. But I
Can
would
you do a Peter Griffin?
not Peter. No, I can do a little bit of Lois. I have a friend that we constantly say, Peter, the horse is here. Peter. So yeah, I guess I can be her ADR. if Alex is out one day, Seth, call me.
All right, here's the pitch. You just ADR over women's tennis matches, right? If they're not grunting enough, you just put in your own. Or if they're like not grunting the right way, and you want to make it a little less.
You want to add a little more
Well,
timber
and
to
I
the
guess
grunt.
like the interesting thing about that is it would have to be done live.
True, right? Yeah, you just.
So it'd
put
be
them
Sitting
like-
courtside.
Yes, which would actually be really fun, like ad-libbing ADR over the top of Serena Williams. Like, sorry, Serena, you don't grunt loudly enough, so we brought in a grunter,
That would be
professional
a cool,
grunter.
a professional
That'd be a
grunter.
cool live Foley, and like as they're like walking around, you can do like the coconuts, copy the
Yes!
coconuts
Yeah.
together, just making all the nice sound effects.
I think we just started a new business.
Look at us go.
Yeah, you should hire us for that.
Who?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm
ESPN?
talking to.
Bette Midler, call me.
Yeah.
Midler,
Now looking for investors.
Serena Williams.
I'm sure this
whoever.
is something that
Trademark.
everyone is.
We're gonna trademark this idea before we put this
Yeah,
out.
yes. All right. Did I get my 200 points? That was a long way around.
No.
No, we take off a point for every second
We lost a
that
point.
you talk.
This is a 7-parter for the 200 points.
Yeah,
2
I mean, I've
points?
just been going through a lot of extra.
2 points to Gryffindor.
So what's your favorite like voice role or job that you've done so far?
I like doing audiobooks. I haven't done a ton of them, but I like doing audiobooks with a lot of characters because then it is kind of a cool, like, you know, you're acting more than just doing like web commercials and stuff. I did get to do this. It's a phone app video game called Age of Apes. Yeah, so that was pretty fun. It was a pretty quick gig, but it was like a couple of cutscenes of this little like ape scientist that she was a little old lady named Miss Helix. And I've been doing elderly women voices since I was like 16. I'm an old lady at heart.
So when you do the audiobooks, you do like all the characters.
Oh,
You don't just
yeah.
like
Well, yeah, and the thing is like I try to be a little like kind of subtle about them because I don't think most people enjoy hearing, especially a female that's like, oh, it's a male character now, and you're talking down here. Like, nobody
I was gonna say, it'd be kind of
No.
distracting.
It's super distracting. So you get subtle, but it is fun because, like, if it's some Valley Girls, and so you get a little bit of this going, just so you sound a little bit different than when you are narrating the actual
Yeah, you want to get a
story.
little bit of twist to it.
Yeah.
I had an English teacher, and we never I went to public school, so
That explains a lot.
they read the books aloud sometimes to some of the students
Oh yeah,
because we
I
were
love doing that.
16 and incapable of reading.
At 16, huh?
But I was in honors, so I had a reading level of 7th grade.
Mm.
So they didn't need to do that for us. And so we never had books read to us, which I was like, thank God, because it's such a waste of just sit there and. But the one book that my English teacher was like, we need to read aloud together. By what she meant, she reads to us is To Kill a Mockingbird,
Oh,
because she thought she had a really
oh,
good Southern drawl. And
so you're
also,
talking about like long form, but like novels.
no, yeah, she read like.
Oh wow.
A book that, you could probably read in 2 or 3 evenings. I mean, as homework, maybe like a week or 2.
Yeah.
She read for the course of like a month
Oh, ouch.
in class because she was so proud of her Southern drawl and oh my and then there was a lot of N words.
Oh,
So she just got to do a lot of. I think she relished a little bit of that. Would you ever?
She was making-
more than about the Southern drawl. Like,
Yeah, it
there might
was-
have been some repressed.
Really strange. She was fired a couple years after I left.
That's not that. I'm surprised. Actually, surprised it took that long.
She called a black student a jigaboo
Oh, lovely.
in like 2012. Obama was like in his second term.
Oh.
And what do you think of that?
This
What do
feels-
you think about everything I
This
just
suddenly
told you?
feels like those old SNL Chris Farley interviews where he's like interviewing Paul McCartney and he's like, in the end, the love you take is like, that's awesome. That's awesome. What do you think of that? That's what I felt like I was in like an SNL sketch for a minute. I think that's pretty awful, Tyler. And I think I'm pretty glad she was fired.
Would you ever do all of what I just said?
No. When you first
What, did you ever do
mentioned
any of
it. Well, maybe as like a joke amongst friends, but I don't know. Some of those I wouldn't be comfortable doing.
You would
any of
use
that.
the J word.
I would
as a
not.
joke.
I would not use it
Amongst
as a joke.
Oh, can we not
Like
say
I might do
jigaboo?
like the Southern drawl definitely as among friends, but no, I'm probably not going to be using N-words.
You wouldn't do the
and
Southern drawl in
slurs.
public?
Well, that's a lie. I would.
Okay, I was like,
Yeah.
how bad's your Southern drawl?
All right.
Oh no, my Southern's pretty good.
All right.
I actually
That's
do a
not
lot
it,
of
is
Southern
it?
characters.
read,
Well, you
give
don't
us
have
a
any-
You gotta do
sentence.
cartoonish.
I need something to read.
Pull up something.
Well, I'm sitting here on the Things Might Happen podcast.
Suddenly she's Blanche Devereaux, and I am watching Golden Girls.
I love Golden Girls.
So
well, Betty White. We already talked
Yeah.
about Betty
Can
White.
you do David Attenborough?
What does that mean?
No, like Jurassic. Welcome to Jurassic Park. You know what I want to do? What a dream job for me is? I want to do narration for crime documentary shows because it's such a guilty pleasure for me, and they're so cheesy. But also, like, let's face it, I would also like to be in the cheesy reenactments, but I would love to do the narration for like ID shows. I would
That's-
love it.
She said that she loved him with all of her heart.
Oh, it's always this small town.
But
Yeah.
Julie
I've
wasn't
never
the
seen
only thing
anything
that David left hanging.
It's always some small town that was caught
Yeah.
completely off guard and nothing had ever happened. Like just like
Yeah.
if they say you light up a room when you walk into it, you're probably going to be murdered. Like I always tell people, I'm like, if somebody murders me, tell the truth.
Yeah.
Like I do not light up a room when I walk into it. In fact, I probably dim it. So like I also want these are things that go through my mind on a regular basis because I spend a lot of time alone in a closet / vocal booth. I want someone to go on a game show and tell the truth about their family.
Mm.
Like you're always,
They're
oh,
fine.
I've been married to Richard, my wonderful husband, for 15 years, and we have 2 fabulous children. Like I want someone to be like, my husband is okay when he's not drunk, and our kids are actually little assholes. I want somebody to do that so badly. Because no way, no way
Yeah.
every person who
Every
is
single
murdered
person.
lit up a room when they walk into it. Please tell the truth. Be like, she was mediocre at best. She did not like to socialize. We're surprised she got murdered because she's usually at home. So unless somebody's breaking
Was
in,
it her cats
yeah,
that
exactly.
did it? Yeah.
Maybe
You
look
checked
into
with
the
Fluffy?
cats. Like where was Wilson when when this crime occurred? If I'm not murdered at home, then it's probably like, yeah, it was probably a setup because I don't leave the house.
What's your favorite true crime outlet? You 48 hours person?
No.
Dateline?
I don't mind Dateline. I like Signs of a Psychopath. Love that one.
How many of them do you see on Tyler?
This is what I'm saying. Like, you might be suspected. Like, you might not be the murder victim, but you might be the suspect.
It's because I have autism.
Maybe. It could be. Yeah, like you never know. Or maybe, or do you? Was that what you wanted people to think?
So what like murder is your like Roman Empire?
I will watch anything that's about a cult.
So like
Because I'm
MAGA right
fascinated. I think
now, or-
really all of it boils down to the psychology of what causes it. And so when you combine them, I am obsessed with the Jonestown murders, like the drinking the Kool-Aid stuff. I think I've watched everything that's ever been put out. I've read books about it. Can't get enough of that one. But really, like, at this point, I always say, like, I'm always looking for something I haven't heard about. Because if you do watch a lot of Discovery ID and stuff, you start
There's
recognizing
only so
the
many
stories.
good cults.
Yeah, so when I mean, so let's pay attention to the bad cults. Like,
Well, there's
let's
nothing-
start a cult and see.
There's not a lot of good stuff happening in cults. Like
Right.
they haven't really.
But you start seeing,
revolutionized
it's like,
it.
I've already watched everything there is to do with like the Manson family or something. So I get excited when something new, like excited is a weird word to use when you're talking about murder and cults, but like, oh, this is a story I haven't heard of. I like those.
So are you familiar with the like fundamentalist like cult that was down in Pringle?
Of course.
The compound. Did you know that you can stay there? They've made it into an Airbnb.
Yes. And you want to do it? You guys want to do it?
Kinda, yeah. We should
I
go
do.
record
I
an
wanna do it.
episode
Yeah, let's
from
go
the
do a
cult
podcast
house.
there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was, for a while, I was on the board for the Black Hills Film Festival.
Mm.
And one of the years we brought out Sam Brower, who wrote the book Prophet's Prey. That is about like FLDS. And he's LDS, not FLDS. So he,
A little bit less great.
like, yeah, a little bit. No, like he didn't have multiple wives or anything. And he, I'm trying to remember the name of Krakauer, John Krakauer. He like partnered with him, and they're all about getting particularly the children out. And so we brought him out here along with Leroy Jeffs, who unfortunately has passed away since then, but he was the first of Warren Jeffs' son to leave the compound in, I think it's Colorado City, that they live in. And it was really fascinating to hear like directly from one of his kids and how they grow up. And unfortunately, he's no longer, he took his own life because they just don't heal very well. A lot of them just don't heal well from it. And we did a showing here with a Q&A, and then we did a showing up in Hot Springs where it was hugely attended because there's lots of people up there that were like, oh yeah, my house overlooked it. Or they come into town all the time and they don't let the children talk to us at appointments. And there is a docuseries where one of the former FLDS members goes with a couple of men to that compound. And it definitely doesn't look like they packed up and moved. It's like things are strewn about. And they actually had a photo of Rulon, the original prophet, that was just like all hanging sideways on the, like, I would have loved to have actually like gone in, there were files, and they just took whatever they could and took off. But I had heard that somebody like bought it and turned it into
Well,
Airbnb.
it was bought by the Mormon Church.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like it's owned by the Mormon Church,
Oh,
like
wow.
the LDS, not
FL,
fundamentalist. Yeah, but still a little bit weird. I don't know if it's like a kind of a cover up. Like, don't look too deeply
Exactly.
into this.
That's
we
what,
own this
that would be my
now.
question is
Don't
based on
go
who bought
digging.
it. Like,
Yeah.
what did you do with the files they left behind?
Right.
So, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish to cook?
Wow, that was a hard right.
Is that real? Is that really your question?
It's one of the questions that was in the hat.
I mean, I'm not judging
Thanksgiving,
it, but
Thanksgiving isn't a, like, I'm not a big foodie for like that kind of holiday because I'm a vegetarian. So, but I do like stuffing as long as it
I was
doesn't
gonna
have
say
chunks of
stuffing
turkey
is
in
it.
it. I do like stuffing. I like mashed potatoes and gravy. I mean, when you're a vegetarian at like holiday dinners, you basically make a meal out of sides, which is great.
Does your family conform to your
Like accommodate that.
vegetarianism?
I usually bring a dish for myself.
You bring like a big old thing of
Oh, I don't even
turkey
bring. Yeah, I don't
carved into the
necessarily.
shape of tofu.
Tofu.
No, I just
yeah,
usually
I
bring
don't think she's gonna take turkey and carve it into tofu.
Square turkey.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be the other way around.
Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, I usually just bring if I want a main dish. There's some really good like Gardein has like a good fake turkey that has cranberry stuffing in it that I like. So sometimes I'll just bring some of that and or I'll just make a meal out of sides.
Why are you vegetarian? Isn't life hard enough?
Remember that conversation we had about me crying my way through the dog movie?
Oh.
I don't
Well,
wear
people
or
don't
eat
typically
animals.
eat dogs, but
But if the dog
they do
dies,
in,
wouldn't you
South
rather?
Korea, they do.
Yeah, if,
well,
if the dog
Springfield,
dies,
Ohio, and
Oh yeah, apparently Haitians also do.
the dog dies, wouldn't you rather it be eaten than just
No, I would bury it.
buried? Because then it's just not like you don't get to eat it, then like maggots have to eat it.
I appreciate that, like, I appreciate if an animal is, like I'm not like I have rancher family members. They, like I don't push that on to anybody, but like native cultures that use every part of the buffalo or whatever, I appreciate that because I do think if you're going to slaughter an animal, like it's to each their own. The thing that pisses me off is like big game hunters that will kill an entire like endangered species animal just for like the tusks. Like
Yeah,
that's
especially because
pointless.
elephant meat is really tasty.
You should stop
Is it?
doing that.
Gross.
Just kidding.
Does it
I
taste
bet
like
it's pretty
chicken?
good,
Everything
though.
tastes like chicken.
I bet it is actually all right.
Okay, but that's
I
like
was never a big
everybody's-
meat eater anyway, so it wasn't like
When
didn't
did you
make my
when
life
did you do
harder.
it? It was like,
it's been almost 12 years.
was it like, did you watch something or did you just one day go?
No,
I
I was actually staying with my friend Elaine in Los Angeles at the time when she was living there, and she was vegetarian, and so like we were just making things that didn't have meat in them, and I was like, gosh, I've never liked meat anyway.
Oh, so
And
it's easy.
yeah, like after I stayed there with her for like, I think it was laid there for like 9 or 10 days, and I went, gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna really eat meat anymore, and I just never did.
Because especially once you kind of get like used to like non-meat protein
Yeah.
sources, you're like, oh, this is actually quite
and there
easy.
are like a lot of people are like, how do you get enough protein? And those questions. And I mean, I guess I should say that I'm technically pescatarian, which is a term that not a lot of people in this area understand. Because
fish.
now and then I will eat a little bit of like tuna or crab. No, I don't eat a lot of
They're
fish.
not real. They don't have.
They're not
feelings.
real. They don't have feelings.
Yeah.
I don't eat a whole lot of it. I would say I'm a pescatarian with vegan tendencies because I will eat a little bit of fish, but at the same time, I'm also lactose intolerant, so I don't do a lot of dairy, but I won't ever go completely vegan because I love cheese. Like, you cannot take away my cheese. So I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, because people will say, like, what do you get? There are really good, like, meat alternatives that I find that, like, I like better than I ever liked. Like, I mostly ate like poultry. I never liked beef very much. So yeah, there's good alternatives out there.
You ever have edamame?
I love edamame, especially
Yeah.
garlic edamame.
Yeah.
As for
That's not a meat though. You know that, right? Like, they're not out slaughtering something and being like, we're slaughtering for the edamame.
Why would I be you? You give me this whole spiel on how you're vegetarian. I'm like, you ever have a big old flank
Well,
steak though? Yeah, have a T-bone though.
You were like, well, whatever. We're talking about like, how do you get your protein?
I just like edamame. I don't know.
Like, would you rather eat the animal if they're
All
dead
he's-
anyway?
All he's done in
I
the
love
last
edamame.
week is eat edamame
And watch Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love.
Adam Sandler approves.
Yeah.
what's edamame? Look it up. I need to see
You don't
this.
know. Are you okay?
No,
It's like
I do a
don't know, like
podcast.
peas,
with these
You
guys.
don't know
I don't know.
movies. You're not sure who Josh Hartnett
it's
is.
like a it's like a pea pod.
It's
is
a
what it-
soybean.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so
Soybeans
tasty.
usually steam them up and then
Yeah,
you
salt
can just
them.
like.
You should say that next
They're
time.
usually at like
Oh, sorry.
Japanese
You guys
restaurants.
ever
Hold
had
on. Can you explain
steamed-
cheese to him because he
Yeah,
doesn't
You've
know?
never heard of cheese.
Can you look up cheese?
Show me some cheeses.
No, I love cheese.
What is your favorite cheese then?
Asiago.
Okay.
Oh, that came out very. You had that ready to go.
That's locked
Come
and
on,
loaded.
cheese.
But there are very few cheeses that I won't eat. But if it's like, I love either Parmesan or Asiago. If it's
Oh, like a
you can
crumbly
get.
hard
cheese.
white.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like a hard white cheese.
Cheesecake.
That's true. I never realized
That's my
that.
favorite
Oh,
right now.
cheesecake.
Mhm.
Yeah, like give me a brick of Asiago and leave me alone. Like
We were in.
That'll be my murder story. She was in her room on a dark night with a brick of Asiago.
Constipated.
I love
We have
Laughing
4 different types of laughing cow up there, and I've never had it.
3.
Cow. Oh, it's good.
I went through your
Would you-
fridge before we.
I was there, what, did you eat a whole? You're like, you had 4, but I ate a whole.
It's like I took out the Parmesan
I was
garlic
like, the Parmesan
stuff.
garlic one's really good. I
Because
could.
we got that one. We got like a aged white cheddar or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then
You ever had bitchin' sauce? It's not cheese, but that's something I introduce a lot of people to.
What is it?
Well,
Look,
it's kind of
look
like-
this
it's
up.
made of edamame. You wouldn't know what it is.
No, it's actually a nut-based dip. But if you like Laughing Cow, the whole Catalyst Theater they have it at every like opening night party now, because I was like, you guys ever tried bitchin' sauce? And I think I brought it to them once.
I think sauces are getting out of control in this country.
I
Bitchin'
think
sauce.
that's possible.
Smack
Well,
your
there's
mama
like apparently
sauce.
there's controversy. Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
Smack Your
Tried
Mama a
that.
seasoning? I don't think it's a sauce.
Well, when
It's like a barbecue thing, isn't it?
I think you can
It's
get it.
Cajun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Cajun. Well,
Yeah.
there's a powder, but they have a sauce.
Apparently, there's
version
a
as
like a
well.
controversy with the bitchin' sauce people, where they were like siblings that started it, and then one of them took it and like went away with it, and so the other 2 siblings started a new one. You're gonna love this name, G Sauce. And I was like, that's kind of a gross name. And
This is what I'm
again,
saying.
one of
This
the
is what I'm
one of the
saying.
Catalyst founders, knowing how much I love bitchin' sauce, they had like sampler packs, and so she sent me one. And I got them, and I'm like, why is this called G sauce? That sounds gross. And then when it shows up, it's like all this like biblical marketing. Like, so it's Jesus, but G sauce.
Well, Jesus
Oh.
is bitching. I mean,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You
like
guys ever try ketchup?
it really was like one of the funniest. If you look up their marketing, it is a very like it's a funny concept.
We did a Wednesday night show in Deadwood. It was
I
good.
feel like that would go pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, he was on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't have gone that well.
I think-
It was in a bar that they kept the same since the 1800s.
Yeah.
So I
Where they
felt really
killed
weird
Wild
walking in
Bill.
there.
Oh.
Yeah.
We still had natives
Oh, is it
lynched
the
up.
which one
Yeah.
is it? Is it the
Still-
Hickox one or the
It's just called Wild Bill's Bar.
Wild Bills? Okay.
Yeah.
Still says no Indians up on.
Oh.
I don't think it does.
Wait a minute. Does that teacher that you had work there now?
She founded it.
She's,
Oh,
she
that's
bought
who
it.
that was. That's why we got the gig.
Yeah, they actually just put that sign about 5 years
She was
ago.
like, I only hire jigaboos.
They put it back up.
Then we take that down, put it in storage. She put it back up. So she has readings of To Kill a Mockingbird every Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And she just makes eye contact as she says the N word.
A little too much eye contact.
Yeah.
What separates a good voice performance from a bad one?
I think character. Even when you're doing like a commercial, one of the most common things that people ask for nowadays is they don't want an announcer voice. It's very, very rare that I get somebody that wants the typical like, come on down to Mazda and buy, like they don't want that announcery. They want conversational. And so I've had to learn, like little tricks because they want conversational, but not every script. In fact, very few of them are written conversationally, but they want their script. So there's like little tricks that I have where you can turn it into like a, hey, did you know that there's whatever, and then you cut out the hey, or there's different. I did a workshop with this once, and I said that's one of the biggest things if you get into voice acting. Everything you're gonna hear is, I don't want robotic and I don't want announcery,
Yeah.
which is ironic because
Now
now
they're
all
going
these
to
people are
AI.
trying AI, and then they're like, oh, that's an actual robot,
Yeah.
and it sucks. So having character, whether you're doing a character or not, I have to think of every commercial as a character. This is a person who's talking to her friend about Ozempic or whatever it is they want you to sound. That is the most common direction I get is like you're trying to sell your friend this.
So is that just line reads, or do you kind of sub in and rewrite?
No, I usually don't rewrite. There are some that will say, and those are the really good ones when they say like you can take liberties if and you can add in a or an oh or a hey, did you know whatever.
Oh, you aren't even able to do a or a
Yeah,
or a
I will do. That probably will never. Unless you're loop grouping.
I was
then
just
you're
going to say,
doing
then it
ADR,
goes
then-
on
then
the
you're a star.
tennis match.
Yep, that's your.
What about
your,
a bruh?
bruh. I'll try that.
Bruh,
Let you know how
have
it
you ever had
goes.
a Zempic, bruh?
Yeah. Yeah, some of the scripts are just not like you wrote this as a sales pitch, but you're asking me to do it like I'm telling you about a product right now.
Yeah.
I love when you're using a product and they're like, how likely are you to recommend this to a friend? I'm like, I'm never going to tell my friend about Microsoft Word, right?
Right.
Zero.
Like, hey, you know what? I discovered this really great Tylenol. And the way they write the scripts, they want it to be like that. But like, if I'm like, hey, have you tried like a leave back and muscle? Like I'm gonna just be like, you know what you should do? Probably because you mentioned like a sore back, but no one's gonna be like calling up, be like, hey, Tyler, I just wanted to tell you about this great new Tylenol product I found. Like nobody does that.
I feel like as I get older, though, I do start recommending to my friends more often. You need an anti-inflammatory.
And it is usually like medicine.
The only thing you keep recommending to us is Punch Drunk Love.
What is your hear me out person or character?
So have you seen this trend going around?
No,
It's
I'm not
like
cool. I'm not hip.
It's okay. So like people are doing like a cake or something like that, and they'll get like characters or actors or people or something that they find really attractive that are not conventionally attractive, and putting them on there. Like one of the most common one is like Kovu from like the Lion King sequel, or like
You might have to pull up an example.
yeah.
I almost threw this question away.
I think you should have.
I was like,
but this is going to be the thing that goes viral. Like when we're talking, like
So this is like-
that's a trend.
Is this like if you had a hall pass for one character? or
Kind of,
something?
yeah, something like that. But
I love
it's
Seth MacFarlane.
it should
I love
be-
everything about him.
things.
it's
that,
like, what cartoon character do you want to
Well, then it's probably Stewie Griffin, and that's weird because he's a baby.
She doesn't realize it, but she grasps the question completely.
Yeah. So these,
So like it's something that
Yeah.
you shouldn't be attracted to,
Right.
but you.
Maybe not to the level of that, but yes.
my wife and I did this together, and we each made our own like slideshows with it, which
Okay,
is how
this
we
is-
entertain ourselves.
Getting
And-
interesting.
Yeah, one of mine is Eva from Wall-E.
Oh, she's cute.
The mom from Phineas and Ferb, Kate
Oh,
McCucci.
I love Kate McCucci.
Yep. Madam Hooch from Harry Potter can get it.
You can't just be
Um,
Kate McCucci. That's a person.
I was gonna say she's like that's what I thought. Like,
That's
is it
just me.
Lady Justice.
so it's a character, not the actual like celebrity.
It could be, or it could
Just
be either.
anybody
Yeah.
that
I've seen Steve Buscemi pop up on
Oh,
these.
that's an interesting.
Yeah,
Like
yep.
rat fetish or something.
Yep.
A great actor, but
it's
Say
so
rat fetish.
well,
Blanche
he is
Devereaux.
Blanche. She has Blanche Devereaux. No wonder he got so excited when I was turning on my southern drawl.
Miss Frizzle.
Oh, okay.
It's
These
so
are-
hard to explain it.
I
It's
feel like I'm learning a lot
uh,
about Tyler.
Oh yeah.
The Starbucks logo.
Yeah.
I mean, she is kind of hot.
What if it goes back to a dog's purpose?
No, it's not. It's not going to go. I don't know. I don't
the
know.
dog.
I think I would have to think about
Which
that one for a
incarnation?
while. We didn't talk about Portal, the horror movie that I worked on. It is kind of interesting because the cast is the couple people that somebody would recognize. One of them is Heather Langenkamp.
Is
The
that someone people would recognize?
the original Nightmare on Elm Street Scream Queen, Nancy. Yeah, my friend Chris Sergi he produces a lot of horror films, and he's pretty well known in LA's area for doing like micro budget movies, and he's so well connected that he can get actors that people recognize into these lower budget movies, so then they're not just like crap B movies.
Yeah.
So we had Ryan Merriman and Jamie Tisdale and Heather Langenkamp, and I'm trying to think about Mike Watford, who most people may see right now. He's in, it's terrible, I can't remember the name of it, but he is in an Apple TV show right now, and he was in The Kitchen with Melissa McCarthy and Elizabeth Moss. So we had a really good cast, and it was a pretty simple, like, because for those lower budgets, you get simpler scripts, and we took it and they did a little rewrite on it, but it's a typical like ghost hunters who, set up things to get views and then encounter a house that is actually
A real
haunted.
haunted house.
Yeah. And Chris is really good friends with Heather, so that's how he got her to play.
So what did you do on, because associate producers, that's a pretty nebulous title.
Right. And the thing is, when if that were on like a Disney movie, it would have very like set duties. But when you're working on these independent films where everybody's kind of doing a little bit of everything, and what was cool was that I did get to do things that on a lot of sets would probably be like more like the first AD. I was learning to do like the daily schedules and the sides that they get before each filming, and I had not been very exposed to film. So it was a learning curve for me, and it's fast paced, and I learned fast. So it was, but I think it was 19 days shooting, and 17 of them were overnights. But I'm a night owl, so I think I was the only one that never fell asleep.
You're
on
walking
that
around.
set.
You're walking
Yeah,
around.
I'm like, and I didn't need all
Waking
the
everyone
extra
up.
sugar. Like I'm like, let's go. I think probably because I've spent so much of my life acting, and I'm also not a hugely starstruck person, so I really like took to the cast, and they took to me. So I was pretty much like I was a go-to for them in a lot of ways, which wouldn't normally be an associate producer type of duty.
Sure.
But on a set that's small where everybody's kind of doing a little bit of, I mean, I did everything from making their schedules to like running to Walmart to pick up a prop that we didn't have on set.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
What's the coolest thing you did though?
I made some props actually, like in the dead of night.
Yeah.
There were like props that we needed to have.
Yeah.
I remember actually it being like 3 a.m. and I was sitting because we couldn't turn full lights on because they were filming outside, I think. So I was by a very small lamp sewing faux fur to a piece of faux leather and doing like charcoal because it was supposed to be like an ancient thing that they found in the ground. And so I was basically making this aged like ancient writing like hieroglyphics at 3 a.m. by a small lamp.
So movie work is just crafting.
It really
at
is.
a
And that was
fast
the best
pace.
part. They were like, hey, and that's the other thing too. You go on those sets and they're like, oh, you can do that? Okay, here you go. Like, you're going to do it then.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool. And the toughest thing was that one of the locations was out in the valley, like past Santa Clarita, and it was about an hour drive. And so like preparing to like getting up and getting out there. But then when you've been up all night long and now the sun's up, so we're done for the day and you have an hour drive ahead of you. Yeah, that was probably one of the worst parts was like trying to stay awake to go back and drive. So it's also very weird to go to sleep and wake up in the same day.
Yeah.
So like going to sleep at 7 a.m. and then getting up at 3 to go back to work was really strange. And the days off, like we tried to keep that schedule so that we would be used to it. Then we got to those last couple days and they were day shoots. And it was awful.
Because now you're on the thing.
I adjusted so fast. Like the first night, I think I was the only one that wasn't acting or directing that did not fall asleep at some point. I was just like, okay, give me a task. I'll keep doing it. I'll wait. And especially it's dark because you're filming horror at night. And so it's dark and sometimes it was foggy and it's a very like sleepy set. So I look over and there's like costumers on the couch like asleep and they're just dropping. Going back to a regular schedule took me like 3 weeks. It was terrible. Like it was so much easier for me to slip into the night shoots and then it was way awful coming out of it.
Did you get a producer PGA union membership out of it?
No. Nor do I want one. I don't like I'll go out to LA for projects when I have the opportunity just because it's a good experience. Even like haven't ever really like looked into getting like SAG for VO because I would only do that if I lived in like New York or LA or maybe Chicago where there's enough like union jobs. But when you're out here, and I have friends that are in union and they're like, I'm kind of envious because you can do whatever work you want. They can't necessarily, or they have to get permission if they want to do something non-union. I mean, obviously the envy is that if you're doing union jobs, you're making union rates and getting all these residuals. So you can be, I have an acquaintance who was on Family Guy for 10 years and she's not on anymore, but she's still getting paid. Like that's the big thing with union.
Yeah, I was hoping that you were so that this could become a union project.
Oh yeah. Well, you'd have to pay me.
I mean, it might be worth it
because
then we could get union pay.
True.
That is true.
I don't know
It
who's paying.
I was going to say, it just pops out of
The
nowhere.
union?
I mean,
I
you
guess.
could turn it over to like, I don't know if there's a podcast. Union.
We're just going to start sending invoices to different people. Like,
Things might happen is on strike.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like some of those probably get so much paperwork, you might just get a check. No questions asked. Send them to the big studios because, I'm sure the
Let's
accountants.
do it under our website name.
Things might happen is now a fraud company.
Things might happen doing business as The Tonight Show with Jimmy
DBA is
Fallon.
The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
So Ryan Merriman
Yeah.
was in the movie. Do you think he would have been offended if I walked up to him with a copy of like Smart House and asked him to sign that?
No.
Okay.
I think one of the first things that I said to him was, dude, I was like, it's really nice to meet you. One of my dad's favorite Halloween movies is Resurrection. And he was just like, cool. Like, He was pretty fun. He was pretty chill. We actually did spend a lot of time offset with both Ryan and Jamie because they were just fun. And we were filming over the 4th of July, so we went to like fireworks events and stuff with them. And he lives in Oklahoma. So he was back in LA. She was living in, I think, Atlanta at the time. So the other ones were primarily like based in LA, and they would go home. But those two were kind of like, oh, we're just here sort of hanging out, and they didn't want to like just necessarily stay at friends' houses all the time. So yeah, they were fun. We did a lot of like late night dinners and stuff with them, and he was cool.
Because he did all the like Disney Channel original movies when he was younger.
Oh, yeah.
and then jumped into like. I remember him most from like Final Destination 3.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Yeah,
in that. Like,
yeah,
Final
he's a very
Destination-
good actor.
Yeah. Yep.
He and I had kind of like a, I don't know, right from the bat, we got into almost like a sibling type relationship. And I remember we dropped him off one night and he went to give me a hug and he said, "See you later, you little shit." Like that was the kind of like, and I haven't spoken to him since. I think Chris has a couple times, but he was like, I don't really keep in touch with very many people. So, but a couple of them I have. And I do see Heather occasionally because she's good friends with Chris. She's very sweet. I was like, of course, I know you from Nightmare on Elm Street, but I was a big Just the 10 of Us fan growing up. And so, like, that for me, I was like, oh my God, it's Marie Lubbock, which she really appreciated because everybody wants to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street, and she really loved doing Just the 10 of Us. But there were things, though, that were really fun to learn, like the way that they do certain
some
movie
of it,
magic that you don't know.
you were like,
that's
this isn't going to
they're-
come together.
Yeah, or
and
like
then
how
it did.
do, there's things that you wonder, and I will ask friends sometimes, like, how do they, recently, and Google taught me this one, but I saw the new Smile movie, and she was doing cocaine, and I was like, I turned to my friend and I said, I wonder what they use as cocaine in movies, because they're really snorting something. And I don't remember what it was called, but if you Google it, like it has a name, and it's
Cocaine.
it's got sugar in it, so it's
Fun
pretty
dip.
harmless. But like there was a funny story about The Godfather. Al Pacino was snorting so much of the stuff that they were using back then that his sinuses were permanently damaged. Even though it wasn't cocaine, he actually had similar damage from all the stuff.
Probably asbestos.
Yeah, or he was actually snorting.
I was going to say, he played
He
the
was
stuff.
probably, yeah. But sometimes things will strike me and I'll reach out to friends. So there was moments like that where it's like, if they're not really driving, how do they make it look like they're really driving without like a full green screen in studio? Well, they just had, people rocking the car from the outside.
Yeah.
Covered windows. And so like those kind of things were fun. There was fun people on the movie.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Voiceover work, is there like a website or a place you want to plug?
Yeah, mostly my stuff is listed on like SoundCloud or Facebook, but they can find me on social media. It's just Jenna Green, or I think this is how much I'm into self-promotion. I don't even know what my own social media is. I think
Yeah.
it's Acting Jenna on a couple of them, or Jenna Green 11.
SoundCloud, you have a lot of rap on there.
All my rap is on there.
Trap
It's only
music.
rap.
Yeah, all
It's
of her
only
rap.
rap and then a character demo.
Can you do a good like rap?
No.
Can you do it? Can you try?
Can you add?
can
Can you
I
ad
do
lib?
what?
Ad lib.
Well, you ever heard trap music? Like rap.
I don't know what that is. Yeah. Oh, I'll just leave that to you.
Ad
You seem
libs.
like
You have no
I
idea. You
don't
said
know
you
what
had
that
an
is.
eclectic music taste.
Yeah, apparently that hasn't made it in. That hasn't made it through
All right,
the
go
door
listen to
yet.
a bunch of trap music and drill
Logan
music.
Lucky? Yeah. Okay.